Today on Tomorocco, I'm super excited to welcome Ali Mokhtar, one of the leading VCs in the MENA area. Ali is the CEO and managing partner of Beltone, the VC division of Beltone Holding. Beltone Holdings is one of the most prestigious and renowned investment bank in the Middle East, listed on the Egyptian Stock Exchange. Ali spent over a decade at Beltone, climbing the ranks from corporate finance to managing more than 1.4 billion in public equities. Then he made a bold move, joining the founding team of Talabeyah, a leading B2B e-commerce platform that was acquired in just 18 months by the unicorn of Egypt, MNT-Halan. And in 2023, Ali returned to Beltone to manage the venture capital division. Since then, the venture capital practice led 17 transactions across Egypt, Saudi, UAE, and Morocco, deploying capital through a hybrid strategy that combines pure VC, tech-enabled startups, and venture debt. In this episode, we explore with Ali what excites him about Morocco, about Moroccan founder, and where the next unicorn opportunity could come from. Enjoy the episode. Wow, it's been so hectic this past few days in Marrakesh. Huh?
True.
Wow, JTEX came all the way from Cairo.
Yeah.
Today I'm super excited because this is actually the first time I'm recording Tomorocco in English. And I do this because Asma from VelyVelo,
my favorite partner,
has introduced me to you, Ali.
Yeah,
So
pleasure.
you're Ali Mokhtar, one of the top VCs in the MENA area, probably in the world as well. And you're investing through Beltone, which is an Egypt-based VC, but also investing in Moroccan startups such as LNKO, that people probably know here, D2C eyewear brand, or CATHEDIS as well, last mile supply. And I wanted to take this opportunity with you that you are in JTEX in Marrakesh to have a conversation because we've seen a lot of things happening those past 3 days. What is your sentiment?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure. Very exciting. First of all, I think like JTEX, it's very well organized. Things are like really exciting in Morocco. Really enjoyed the last couple of days. Been hectic, but it's been like very exciting. And I've been like visiting Morocco, I would say like in the last year, like more than 4 or 5 times. Really exploring the market, meeting founders, meeting investors. We're really excited about Morocco. We see it as a great market to look at. Already you have been active. We're actually finalizing an additional transaction and looking forward even to like expand our footprint in Morocco.
Just to maybe remind people that are listening to us, what stage are you investing in?
We have like different pockets. So we invest from our own balance sheet and we have like different LPs. So we have from our balance sheet, it's more of a flexible mandate. So typically like seed is our like sweet spot. However, we do some pre-seeds and we do some more mature opportunities, but it has to be like kind of opportunistic. And for like our different LPs, there's like we manage like close to $45 million for like a huge holding company in the UAE. This is like much more mature phase. I would say like growth equity. So we're like flexible. We have like a flexible mandate to like invest in different stages.
Why Morocco? Why are you one of the few actually African MENA VCs to have an interest into Morocco? So what's so special about Moroccan founders?
Yeah, there's a lot of like different factors. If you look at it from a top-down perspective, from a macro perspective, it's a stable economy that is growing. A lot of opportunities, untapped sectors that could be like penetrated through technology, which is something that gives you like a lot of upside from the current situation. Very strong founders that have been like building very solid fundamentally businesses, like sustainable businesses with very limited resources.
But you have a lot of other sustainable founders everywhere else in the world. What makes it so special about Moroccan founders particularly?
They actually built very solid businesses with very limited resources. So in our humble opinion, like if you actually support them with funding and guidance, definitely they can like have much more upside from the current situation. And we can see Morocco currently, it's like similar to Egypt like 5-6 years ago,
Yeah.
where like the ecosystem was like in a takeoff phase, which is I think similar here in Morocco. And there's like a lot of foreign investors actually currently like looking at opportunities here. So I think
You've seen it those past 3 days.
Yes. And even like
People that you didn't even know were interested in Morocco.
Yes. Foreign like most of like African VCs are like actually currently trying to secure pipeline in Morocco, and even like local VCs are becoming much more active. There is like much more funding coming in, so I think it's a good entry point to like really invest in Morocco, and we're like lucky enough to do like couple of ones like before like this hype.
What advice would you give to Moroccan founders?
Actually, there's like two main points. Number one is I think they need to double down on Morocco before like thinking of expanding geographically. And the second part is they need to like really believe that they can really build a scalable and big businesses.
Because you believe more than them. Yeah.
More or less, I think so. Not with the founders that are invested in, but with like the other ones. There's like kind of they just like the ambition is, I would say, not really high.
The ambition is not really high.
They're like convinced like the market is a bit small and they can like achieve a good business just in Morocco.
Yeah, with a few millions in revenue.
Exactly.
And that's all.
Exactly.
So the advice would be to dream higher,
100%,
dream bigger,
100%,
and then expand.
And then expand. And even in Morocco, you can achieve even much bigger than you expect.
You actually can make great business only in Morocco.
Yes, and then phase 2, we can even expand further. But still, even in Morocco, that's why I'm telling you, just double down on Morocco. There is a huge opportunity there.
And what can we learn from Egypt in terms of the structuration of the ecosystem?
I'll tell you something. In Egypt, with all like the macro challenges that we had, we still created unicorns with just Egypt's story. Because
but the market is larger.
Yes, again, you have a lot of, I would say, macro challenges. But again, you're like, they really believe that they can grow and grow and grow in Egypt. And this is something that makes Egypt still unique, very unique as a market to invest in. With very solid quality founders again, which is something also exists in Morocco. Solid founders, they need like the support, funding, and even from a guidance perspective to like start even dreaming bigger.
And how can we help them dream bigger?
I think it's part of like the I would say like the maturity of the ecosystem and like new funds, new investors.
It's gonna come.
It's gonna come.
And well, you were mentioning it, but also those past 3 days, we've heard that finally the Moroccan Wealth Fund has poured some money into Moroccan VCs and also international VCs. So there will be a lot of capital. Yeah. A lot of Moroccan VCs have got some money recently. They were super happy.
Like the last couple of days,
They were super happy.
Actually, I'm not sure who actually got like funding from like the existing ones.
It's still confidential.
So it's not like a public information.
It's not a public information.
But, okay. I thought it's like something that is announced.
They haven't announced it publicly.
Okay.
I think that they will. But from my understanding, the funds that got the money are good funds.
Okay.
So it makes sense.
Okay.
And I really think that also it will bring. It will bring money, that's for sure, but also like it will attract people to build companies in Morocco.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so there will be a lot of dry powder in the market.
100%.
I'm not sure there is enough deal flow, no? Not yet.
Yeah, I think this is one of like the biggest challenge in the market. But however, you will find opportunities. Maybe like not like a huge pipeline, but there is a lot here. Still, there is a decent number of transactions that you can do, decent number of opportunities that arise every now and then. So if you're like really hands-on, you will get good deals and good opportunities. By the way, like these guys didn't actually take anything. Like creating like these businesses with very limited funding, it's something like shows you like the quality of the founders. Because if you look at Egypt or Saudi or UAE, like
they love raising.
Yes, like companies are like raising $30-40 million easily. to like reach a scale which is like a unit economics which is similar to these guys. Like, but if you look at CATHEDIS, for example, the total amount that they raise is less than $2 million.
But tell me, why are they doing it with so low?
It is because two things actually mainly. Number one is actually the quality of the founders, and number two, competition is not strong in Morocco so far. So you can crack the market with less funding, but sooner or later, competition will get tougher. So I think if you ask me, when we talk to most of Moroccan founders, double down on Morocco for now. Don't like really think of expanding beyond Morocco and so on and so forth. Just focus on doubling down on Morocco. You have a huge opportunity to dominate a market that you're already in, and then start thinking of geographical expansion.
This episode is brought to you by Alogaron. Alogaron is the trusted platform that helps international students find and secure comfortable housing when moving to France. Whether you're from Casablanca, Beirut, Cairo, or Lagos, finding an apartment shouldn't be the hardest part about studying abroad. With Alogaron, students land with peace of mind, not paperwork. Visit alogaron.com to learn more about them, and I thank them so much for sponsoring this video.
But also with this capital that is coming, there will be more money to invest in potential competitors.
Yeah, exactly. So, but still, again, this money is coming. They will look at the top achievers in the market, right? And also valuations are still relatively realistic versus if you look at different countries, it's totally opposite.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's totally opposite. Valuations are with the same scale, much higher.
Yeah, and still with an untapped potential.
100%.
Crazy. So there is some money to be put in.
Yes. Yeah.
Because why? Just to understand, those founders, they don't know how to price well, or
no. There's like different factors for like the current valuation. Number one is who are like the new investors that are coming. So there is no like kind of a hype. There is like most of like the driven valuations that goes like very high is because of oversubscribed round. Couple of investors are like trying to get the round, so there is like kind of a hype. So things are like the founder is demanding much more. So this is number one. Number two is there is a debate that Morocco is a small market. So still, which is true. But again, it's where the story starts, not definitely where it will end.
Yeah.
So definitely you can, if you do really well in Morocco and you have a product market fit that you reached and you really understand the business, even me as an investor, we will look at phase 2 and maybe like expanding to Africa, Europe, Middle East, you never know. But the quality of the founder and what they reached to in Morocco, it's not definitely that they will like stay all their life in Morocco. They can expand in phase 2. So
just like LNKO.
Exactly. So like you're giving, it's like it's kind of a penalty for like for the founders that Morocco is a small market. Yeah, but you can like expand further. I'm against like the concept it's a very small market or whatever.
Yeah,
it is, but you can crack it and replicate the model in different countries.
That's for sure.
So this is another factor, I think. And also, as you said, like there is not like it's mostly driven by local VCs so far.
Yeah, but once, not for too long.
Yeah, but once the money is there and like there's a mandate to invest, for sure valuations will uptick for sure.
Yeah, but so what I'm understanding is that now is the time to get opportunities that are interesting, and it can be too late in a few years.
I 100% agree. And by the way, we saw the same trend in Egypt. Like if you go like 5, 6, 7 years ago, things were very normalized. If you look at it at 2021, it was significantly overvalued. Significantly.
Yeah, but that's very true everywhere.
Yeah, but like even Egypt beyond. Currently things are normalizing, but again, normalizing versus Morocco, it's normalizing to, I would say for us, like when we look at Egyptian startups, it's normalizing to a certain point, but still it's much more aggressive than Morocco.
Okay.
So sooner or later you will reach to a point that things are like upticking.
Yeah, but that's true for maybe Moroccan startups. But also that there's something that we haven't tackled is the Moroccan diaspora. Moroccan founders abroad.
For example, they're actually expanding to Morocco. They're already operating in Morocco, for example, Asma and the team, and they're doing really well. And I think by time they will even expand. Part of discussions, we can like really help them to expand to Egypt. and through our portfolio companies. So we invested in a last mile delivery company, we invested in a Q-commerce, we invested in, I would say, direct to consumer brands that already have like an omni-channel, so e-commerce. So there is a lot of things that we can really help them to like expand to Egypt. Already they're doing it in Morocco. So there is a huge opportunity to tackle Middle East and North Africa.
What I'm just understanding from what you're saying is that if you want to do seed investments right now in Morocco, it can be too late in a few years.
Yes,
It
I
can be
agree.
too-
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, like even maybe currently I'm the most active one, Egyptian VC in Morocco, but I'm not the only one looking at.
Yeah.
And we actually share notes, and we're like thinking of co-investing with each other, and there is like a huge appetite.
Yeah, but this will also help increase the valuation.
100%.
So-
It's part of the game.
And also other, do you see a lot of other African countries?
Yeah. Big funds from Africa that already in GITEX that already we were like sharing notes about opportunities in Morocco.
Yeah. For you, Morocco, you see it also as a way to invest in companies that could be potential expansion targets
To Egyptian
companies. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, we can see like kind of a bridge between Egypt and Morocco. Like most of successful startups in Egypt want to like expand geographically, and when you look at like the options that they have, so GCC is very competitive, funding is like very aggressive, so it's like I think it's harder to expand to the GCC part. However, Morocco, it offers a very good I would say geographic help. 100%. You have access to Europe, you have access to Africa, so for them it's a good market to explore, and there are actually a lot of startups in Egypt currently like looking for like to expand to Morocco. So definitely, and sometimes it's much easier to do it inorganically rather than organically. So it makes perfect sense. In my humble opinion, you will find a lot of, I would say, consolidation in the market. You can see like leading startups, even not from Egypt, but in general, like in the Middle East or even Africa, that could actually look at interesting opportunities in Morocco to like even consolidate even more. So this is something that when we like looking at our portfolio, we like think about it. We invested in CATHEDIS, which is similar to Bosta in Egypt.
And in that consideration,
definitely yes, and we see a lot of synergies between both. So you never know, but you can see something that could happen in this space.
Okay.
We have like a couple of direct-to-consumer brands that we invested already in Egypt. So definitely there is something that we can do there. Opportunities in Morocco.
Yeah,
it's there.
And for now, because I think that for sure the quality of the deal flow will increase.
100%.
But are you already seeing a lot of interesting opportunities? Do you think there will be bread for everyone right now?
Yes, but in a couple of years. And again, there is actually a couple of interesting opportunities. Maybe it's a bit early. They need some traction to you get comfortable to invest from a product market fit perspective. But still, there is, I would say, decent amount of opportunities. Mm-hmm. And I think by time with additional funding and support, they will increase for sure.
Mm. Interesting. So what was the rationale behind, like, for example, LNKO as investment? Because I think that the company now is a bit famous to the public. I think they have 100,000 people that have bought some glasses when you've done the investment in the past few months.
As I said, we have kind of a flexible mandate. So from day one, what we wanted to do is to have kind of a hybrid model. So we do equity investments and we do that. And from the equity investments, like perspective, we have like two different buckets, I would say. So like there's like the pure tech companies, and there's like kind of the tech-enabled SMEs that are profitable and growing really well. And I think this is
interesting because when you think about it, I mean, it's not a VC fundable startup per se. It's not really a tech model,
exactly.
A deep tech one, something that really.
But this is actually, I would say, a huge gap that we see because it's a bit early for private equity firms, and it's not really a focus of a typical VC investment. So there's a huge gap, which if you fill, you can actually have a huge upside. And this is actually what we did in Egypt. We did like a couple of I would say direct-to-consumer brands that are, mashallah, doing really well. Yeah, doing really well, expanding across, like, they started with Egypt and they expanded in different countries. So it makes perfect sense to look at the same model here.
Yeah, it's
and
like
amazing founders.
The Warby Parker of MENA, right? Yeah, amazing. What did you find amazing for? Well, I'm gonna have Maha on the show. But what did you find amazing about her?
Very strong founders, like both, like the two sisters, very strong founders. Really understand the business, really want to scale. Look at unit economics, amazing margins. They really understand what they're trying to do and what they are trying to achieve. They listen to investors. They take your advice. Yeah, like mostly, like one of the biggest factors that we invest in is founders, and we're very lucky with like the founders that we invested in Morocco.
Actually, a lot of because I mean we're investing in France, and we've seen a lot of D2C models that have not popped up as much as they could have.
Yeah,
and so that's why I think VCs right now, they're focusing mainly on either platforms or deep tech models,
okay,
and not so much about D2C. So it's a bit of a contrarian bet still in 2025 to still do this.
But definitely we'll have outliers, and to have the outlier, you need to make sure like the founders are like can actually have like this alpha that actually make it and like scale this business to like a very big business. And this is what we saw in like the founders, like whether Malak and Maha, and again for the same portfolio companies in Egypt. Once you crack it and you reach to a certain scale, it goes like you can like really scale it really well. But there is like kind of an inflection point. Once you like crack it, you can scale the business really well.
But I'm also trying to understand the rationale behind this deal, because when you think about it as well, there's not so much recurrence. There's a lot of marketing. I think they're great into community building.
Yeah.
But still, you still need to put a lot of effort into acquiring someone that you will sell.
Did you look at the numbers?
Tell me.
No, it's confidential information, but if you look at the numbers, you'll be really impressed.
Not a lot of repeat, no?
I think Maha can actually speak about the numbers more, but it's I would tell you it's amazing numbers.
And what interesting models are you seeing pop off from Morocco right now? Now that we're
like really we're like looking at the prop tech now.
Prop tech,
yeah. Okay. It's a sector that we really like. And
what do you find interesting about it, especially with the Moroccan market?
It's growing really well. There is the mortgage part of it, which is very interesting as well. Still, competition is not huge here. Maybe there's like a couple of players, but still, no one is like really in a very, I would say, high scale. So there's a huge upside opportunity. I would say it's a good sector to invest in.
Yeah,
especially with what coming with the World Cup or whatever. That's like there is a lot of things.
A lot of tailwinds, positive tailwinds that will. And so specifically, I think that, for example, Yaki is a good model founded by the founder of Karim Bakali that will have I hope
amazing founder
on the show. Founder of Yamed, a big real estate company here.
Yeah. It's a very solid. This is a very solid opportunity. Hopefully, inshallah, we announce something soon, but it's a good one.
So, what is the model exactly? Just to understand,
it's a pure prop tech. So you have like the marketplace part, you have like the mortgage part, you have the Yakival part, which is the valuation part. So it's like
estimation.
So we can have like a full super app that covers everything regarding the real estate sector.
Except from the prop tech space that you're seeing in Morocco being super interesting. Are you seeing other either models or industries that are particularly interesting to invest in?
We're looking at an opportunity in the HR. It's an interesting one, but still early on. So we need to like maybe keep our like contact with the guys and like really see how the business will. From a traction perspective will do, but it's an interesting one. A lot of fintech companies have very great ideas, but still you need to really validate will they be able to actually execute or not, but interesting ones.
Are you able to take bets even when there's no traction, or are you still waiting for...
No, we did already, but mostly in Egypt. We did a couple of pre-seed rounds, but in, I would say, proven sectors. So it's a proven model, but maybe traditional. So maybe we did one in InsurTech, which is in Egypt, and it was like pre-revenue. But you really see the different models in the space. So you understand the business really well. So we did it, and they're doing really well now. So we do some pre-seeds, but it needs to be kind of
proven.
Yeah.
But in Morocco, you don't. You really need to see the numbers and the traction.
So far, yes. It's a new market for me. So also you're learning every single day, and you need to understand the market dynamics even further. So like the three or that we already executed are like a proven models with a very great traction. But that's why I'm telling you, we're like exploring a lot of sectors and like looking for like different opportunities.
Creating relationship with founders.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and they've been very helpful. I have great
even here
partners.
at JTEX, it's
yeah,
enjoying Marrakesh and
100%.
Interesting. So what will happen in 2030? A lot of African VCs will want to invest in Morocco
because it's untapped. It's a market that is untapped, and I think there's a lot of risks in different countries in Africa, right? And one of them is the foreign currency devaluation, which happens in a couple of big markets. Kind of you're hedged here, so this is a big plus for you. You have like a very good connection if you want to expand to Europe, if you want to expand to West Africa. So it makes sense because even African, what I was saying, like for the bridge between Egypt and Morocco, even like African funds that invested in Ivory Coast, Senegal, and so on, they have the same mindset of why not expanding our portfolio companies to Morocco, whether organically, inorganically. So there is something to be done for sure.
And what do you think should change? Because right now, I've seen at JTEX that there is a lot of goodwill, that the government, they have huge stands, etc. So do you still think that some stuff should change in the way that funds or like even institutional approach investing? So we've talked about the good.
Yeah.
Do you see something that still need?
I think it's normal, but regulations maybe needs to be like more flexible, and I think it's like the typical progression for like any new ideas. So even in Egypt, it took us time for the regulator, like especially when you look at the financial sector, like for fintech companies, it takes you time to like start like I would say have an alignment on every new idea that you're trying to do in the fintech space, for example. So this is something that if there is flexibility for these startups to start penetrating the market more, understanding the different, I would say, products or like the different ideas that they're like trying to develop with the support of the regulator, definitely it will help much more. Things are like still a bit tight, but I think it will by time get much better.
The fintech space is huge in Egypt, no?
Yeah. It's one of the biggest.
Yeah, and like a lot of new banks have raised a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. So, but also it took us time to like for these companies to like align with all like I would say like the stakeholders. So to like really scale the business and understand the business. And currently it's doing really well, and it's one of the biggest sectors in Egypt.
But in Morocco,
but I think it's the same progression.
How long did it take?
If you like compare like Egypt 5-6 years ago, like the flexibility now is much better. And I think this is exactly what I was saying, like Morocco is like Egypt 5-6 years ago.
People are complaining that there's not so much acquirers. Even international acquirers are not necessarily, I'm not talking about the InstaDeep story because it's an outlier. But still, it's great to invest. It's great to support startups. But at the end of the day, it's a financial return model. You need to make 100%. Money out of it. What do you think about that?
But I think from even from macro dynamics, for like a lot of startups to sustain and grow, you need to see kind of a consolidation in the market. Even not in Morocco, but in general, and even in Middle East and Africa. And I think this is something that will happen. And this is part of what we were like discussing earlier, like of having consolidation, whether between Egypt and Morocco or like African even international players want to expand to Africa through like inorganic expansions.
We've seen it with Kifel, for example, the Moroccan companies that has been acquired by AutoCheck. So makes sense, but still, it's one of the very rare exits still today in the 100%. Moroccan tech ecosystem.
And this is what takes you need to make sure that the companies are like building a sustainable, fundamental business that they will sustain whatever pressure will happen. And by the way, even for founders, like having options is the best thing. Having you're like very solid, you don't really need a lot of cash, so you can fundraise whenever you want. If the business is very profitable, you can actually distribute dividends.
You can think about it in many different ways.
So this is like the most important part when you're like really trying to build the business to like really build, I would say, a fundamentally solid one.
Yeah, and I think that we lose this mindset quite a lot,
and this has come with like, I would say, much more funding than you need. This is part of it.
Yeah.
And starting like running for higher valuation, rather than just focusing on business and scaling your own business.
Also, one thing that I wanted to touch upon with you is the way that the amount of fundraising will evolve regarding the advancement of AI, especially within tech teams. So right now you need less people than before to achieve your goals.
True.
So how do you see that? Because right now a company that needed 1 million just to hire 4 or 5 devs,
I think it's an advantage. It's an advantage for the companies. You will have like much more lean structure with like a better cost structure, and I think this is even better. So you're like scaling your own business with like much lesser cost structure, which is great.
And one thing that we've been discussing a lot internally in my fund is, with the advancement of AI, you don't really know what to invest in.
Yeah.
You don't really know. Everything changes every
100%,
day. Any company could be disrupted the next day because you've been advanced.
True.
I mean,
and by the way, this takes you to having the hybrid between like the typical tech companies and I would say the tech-enabled traditional businesses, which makes you like having the best of both.
Yeah, diversified portfolio because we've been doing that quite a lot, but it's true that right now when you want to invest in AI, you don't know what to do. You need to wait and see.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Have you invested in AI models? And
so far, no, but we have been like exploring couple of opportunities. We have like 2 in our pipeline, but we still didn't like take an investment decision. But actually, it's exactly because what you're saying.
Yeah, you don't know the next, like what was feasible in 6 months.
Exactly.
6 months ago is now doable in 3 days.
100%.
And everything becomes outdated. The next day.
It's very tricky.
How do you do your job?
Yeah, it's very tricky. It's a tricky one. And definitely, it's a risk that you will take. It's part of your investment decision. It could be a hero. It could be something like an outlier, and also it could be like I would say a dead business. So,
okay, maybe just not only to talk about Morocco, but do you invest in other geographies?
Yes. We already did investments in Egypt, Saudi, UAE, Iraq, and Morocco.
Iraq?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting market actually.
Yeah, why so?
Super under penetrated. Actually, I have 2 portfolio companies that are operating in Iraq. One of them is a direct consumer brand that is in Egypt and then expanded to Iraq and doing really well, really well, and like scaling really well. I'm serious.
You're like emphasizing this so much.
Yeah, and also you have a kind of a ride-hailing business that we invested in also in Iraq. Currently, like the top leader in the space there. Very profitable, very high, very big scale. And actually, this company had an opportunity that we fully exit, and we passed. We're doing really well there, and we're like looking even to.
So you dropped the exit proposition?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all of us. It's not like it's kind of a full acquisition, and us founders and everyone actually we passed.
You passed because you believe that
There is much more upside.
Yeah, much more upside to grow the company even higher. And what if the next exit never happens?
The worst case scenario, it's a very profitable company. So your worst case scenario is like distributing dividends or whatever, but still it's a very, very profitable and the business scaling really well. So I think there's still much more.
It's super interesting because like one thing that I've heard a lot lately in Morocco is that VCs, and even in France actually, or even if the business is great and is scalable and everything, because there's so few exits, VCs are recommending founders
but I'll tell you something. We have been operating for 2 years. We already did 2 exits, and one of them in Egypt, and one of them is partially in UAE. So it's like a full exit, but like the Egyptian one is like a full exit. The business was doing well, but again, it's kind of a risk reward thing. So if you see like, okay, it's a great return in a very short period of time, and the upside is a bit tricky whether we will like even scale further or like we will sustain this business or not.
Take your 2x or take your 3x.
It's even more than
that.
But and we exited, and it was like a no-brainer decision for us. But this one is you're like super profitable, scaling really well, and still you have a lot to deliver. So we decided to stay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very contrary to what I hear on an everyday basis. It's
but the other one actually it was a partial exit. We returned the full capital that we invested. We did almost 4.5 times our money. We returned all the capital, and we're like enjoying the free ride now. So it depends. You need to be opportunistic for sure, and you need to like I would say case by case. But definitely you want to have like good returns, but you need to be like also selective when you're like taking the decision.
Maybe just to finish the podcast, two questions, quick answers. Cairo or Casablanca?
A tricky one. I have to say Cairo politically. Cairo.
Another one. Seed or Series A?
Seed.
Seed. Yeah?
Yeah.
You're the seed investor?
Yeah, this is my sweet spot, I would say so.
You really like when you put a small bet and you see it growing?
It's mostly sometimes in an inflection point.
Yeah.
So you look at a good inflection point and you take it from there.
Asma from VelyVelo or Asma from VelyVelo?
Asma, in general.
Well, thank you so much. I hope
Pleasure.
that you've enjoyed the discussion. Super happy to do this in Marrakesh for the first time. And
pleasure.
Enjoy the last day in
Thank you.
in Marrakesh.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.